Hey, everybody. Ed Carbajal and Matt Hawkins with you live for Invicta FC 49, brought to you by AllAccessMMA.com. Make sure you check out AllAccessMMA.com for your mixed martial arts news. The link for if you're watching Invicta FC 49, it's on the bottom of the description here. I'll put it in the audio description when I upload this to the audio version of the podcast, too. Matt and I are doing this because the homegirl, Jillian DeCoursey, is fighting for the title against Jessica DelBoni in this event tonight. So we are doing we finally got to the last 3 fights, 2 fights before the main event. And Matt, I've been kind of excited all day for our girl Jillian to take her shot at greatness. I have a lot of confidence in her. I mean, she's definitely a different animal lately. So yeah, man. I mean, thank you for doing another Fightside chat with me.
Yep, Fightside chat number 2. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully bring a little bit of spark to this card. Last fight was had some entertaining, but first couple bouts a little bit slow. We've had 4 decisions in a row, so we're hopefully get something going here with this matchup. But yeah, obviously looking ahead to the championship fight. We're blatantly, openly cheering for Jillian. She's filled in for me on the show. She's come on as a guest, so we'd love to see her get a title belt and fulfill her dream of
a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work, a lot of positivity. When she's always been positive from when I've met her on the show and going back on.
And
Twitter,
tough as nails too. She never gets finished. She's always if she has lost, it's lost. She's lost by decision. Right now, Liz Tracy and Valeska Machado are coming in the cage. Just one note about the co-main event that they said at the beginning of the broadcast, if you haven't been watching. Maiju Suotoma and Ketlin Souza are the co-main event. Suotoma was supposed to fight Christina Warhorse Williams. You might remember her from Bellator. She's the one that gave Heather Hardy her first MMA loss. That fight was supposed to be the original booking 2 weeks ago. They changed it. And then obviously DelBoni and DeCoursey are the main event. But while we're watching the fights and making our comments, as the ladies enter the cage, Liz Tracy's walking in now. There's a lot of news that we got to talk about in between. I don't know where you want to start. I mean, we're already started as we were waiting to get near the end of the card. I mean, there's a lot of good MMA, including this card, Invicta FC 49. I mean, if you're a fight fan, your weekend's starting right now with this card. And then come Thursday, there's one championship 161, which I think is some mostly Muay Thai card. And then they have their Prime Video event on Prime Video 2, which if you don't have Prime Video, make sure you use our link that's also in our description to sign up for Prime Video and watch the fights there, because it helps us out, and you're fucking missing out if you're not watching that, because they have great pacing and they don't ban anybody from events for any weird reasons. And then Saturday is the Bellator 286. Are you going to that one, Matt?
About 70% right now. Prices are a little high. I'm kind of monitoring tickets. I want to go, but gas is also approaching $7 in my neighborhood. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's. I want to go support Bellator, but a $400 day when I could watch it on TV for free, it makes it harder. But I'm gonna do my best. I'd say about 70% chance. I figure out how to get some.
Make Happy drive you.
We'll figure something out. But yeah, I mean, that's a loaded card, and the more I look at the card, it makes me want to go.
The card is it's really fun. I mean, if you're comparing cards, you know what I mean? Not for nothing. I mean, if you're a fight fan, an MMA fan, right? Like, that's the one that's like guys like you and I, we try to watch everything. But as we become grumpier old men and we see shenanigans, we will watch the shit that watches us, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I try to catch all the bigger stuff now, and obviously I Cage Warriors last Friday, so I make it around to two events still, and I try to follow it, but there's just so much. It's almost frustrating because you think you're on top of it, and then you realize there's 65 other events going on across the world at the same time. You think you're on top of it, so
You
unless
know,
you're Caposa, it's
yeah.
hard to keep up with all of it.
I don't
But
even know how the fuck that guy does it. He's literally on 24/7 watching fights and putting up
no, I
highlights.
mean living the dream, but
Yeah.
yeah, I have no
He
idea.
must be
But
like a stock like
uh,
fucking Wolf of Wall Street type of dude.
Who knows, man? But he does great work on Twitter. He's done great work on MMA forums for going on a long, long time now. So that's the guy to check out at Grabaka Hitman if you're looking for fight links or just a general schedule. If you're looking for fights that we
Like you
perhaps
want to
didn't
know what's
mention
going
happening.
on, yeah. Like he puts up literally everything you can watch on the weekend. That's true. I actually share and refer to that a lot. All right, the ladies are about to kick off in all kinds of ways here. Invicta FC 49. I actually don't know much about these two, but they definitely look ready to go.
Let's hope they are. Let's let's
Yeah,
hope that we get this going. Hasn't been a punch thrown yet. Here we go. A little kick.
Machado looks like Sonny Kiss from AEW with that bleached hair. And then Tracy, she's got like the her shorts reminds me of what's his name. Remember in Bellator, he was like the knockout guy until Melvin Meinhof, who just retired last week, showed up. Douglas Rhino, I forget his
Oh,
last name.
Marshall, Doug
Yeah,
Marshall,
yeah, yeah.
the
He
Rhino.
used, he
That's
used to
that's
rock those.
WEC. That's going back. That's a good. Brian Stan had
He had,
some.
he had a good run in Bellator too, though, until he faced Melvin Meinhof. I remember that was like he was like the guy. Like that was it was like one of those fights where you knew someone was getting knocked out, and Menhoff with his striking experience with K1, he was the one that came out on top. I remember that like yesterday.
Speaking of Melvin Manhoff, he announced his retirement after his Bellator loss to Yoel Romero. I mean, you talk about a guy who, I mean, he spent most of his career in the kickboxing
Yeah.
ring.
Well, that was going
Um,
to be his last fight, regardless of
but regardless,
28 years. Yeah, 28 years in that.
28 years. I mean, there won't be. It'll be weird watching fights without Melvin Manhoff. I mean, I watched him in the K1 days. Uh, I mean, he just an absolute stud, and one of the reasons why. Um, I'm a just be lead fan, I guess. The dude put a hurting on people. Got
Yeah.
some action here in Machado Tracy. Let's a
Are
lot
we
of
going to get our
movement.
first finish, or why did she fall
Uh,
back like that? I'm clicking
yeah,
between
she
tabs.
looks like
She threw a really nasty elbow when they class. I mean, they're definitely not shying away from each other. Um, but I feel like something's going on with Tracy. She seems to be like taking her foot off the gas. Now she's going for a takedown. So I feel like she might have hurt her knee or something. Well, these I have the closed captioning on for the fights, and they're not accurately quoting whatever the commentators are saying. I got freaked out when I was setting up this stream a little while ago. My neighbor likes to let his cat out on the roof and decided to take a walk over here and stick his face in my window. And I'm on like the second floor, so like when you see some sort of creature staring in your window, it's a little. It's a good thing I didn't have the camera on. Scared the shit out of me. Uh,
so, yeah.
yeah, she's like, I guess she just wants to wrestle now, Tracy, because before it seemed like she was content to exchange blows, and now she's using it to go in for that. I don't know if she's hurt or she just found out that maybe she's unmatched when it comes to the striking because Machado looks like she's landing
Landing
where
that
she
overhand
wants.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
See how this. Just out of curiosity, what's the timer on your
I
phone?
was gonna say that before because usually last time we did this we synced our clocks and we forgot to do that because I started drinking 3 fights ago. But right now I'm at 119.
Okay, I'm a little ahead of you, so I'll back off a second or two here.
While we're watching this, we had Ray Robles on last week, and he's like he's in an area near or being affected by Hurricane Ian. So shout out to all the homies down south of me in Florida. Hopefully they're all okay and not like losing anything or having too much property damage. I mean, between him and the upcoming future guest we're gonna have, he's also down there. We were actually gonna do a double recording tonight if this hurricane didn't come. So, but we'll have that for you next week. Hopefully, if he still has his house and stuff. Fingers crossed for him.
Ooh, big uppercut from Machado there. Both fighters still standing in the middle of the ring. Low leg kick. Kind of folds Tracy a bit. Looks like Machado's just like you said. Oh, flying knee attempt. Definitely some aggression. Ooh, here we go.
Yeah, that's what's up.
We got some swinging. We got some clinching. We got some. Here we go. Some phone booth fighting going on.
Yeah.
Getting around.
Oh yeah, Tracy's definitely wearing the damage from that exchange while they're between rounds. Who's that horrible referee when they're usually in Kansas? His face is. There's a really bad referee that he's not. He's on the level of Mario Yamasaki and all those guys. I'm trying to think of that. His face is in my head, and I can't think of his name. Invicta still uses him. Jesus, I can't remember his name. Thank God they're in Oklahoma tonight, though. That's why I'm bringing that up. But usually when I see that guy reffing, I'm just like, oh God, as long as he's not reffing like Jillian's fighters, because he's one of those guys that looks like he's asleep at the wheel, and there's definitely some questionable.
I'm trying to think. You're a white guy.
Yeah, his face is in my mind, and I cannot think of, his. Again, I've had a few folks, so before we started this stream, so I'm drinking. Shipyard is not really a strong beer, but Shipyard Pumpkin Ale. While we're watching the fights here.
Well, getting back to the Bellator card, one fight that obviously jumps out at me and is a guy we've talked about since his first fight ever in all of MMA, Aaron Pico.
Yeah.
We talked about him years ago when he was when he was losing some fights and was basically a 500 fighter almost out of the gate. He might have been 4-3, 3-3. He was right. I mean, he was essentially a 500 fighter, having suffered some extremely brutal knockout losses. Now you look at his record, 10-3. Those 3 losses don't seem so bad.
Yeah.
It's amazing how he's on a nice streak, and now he fights Jeremy Kennedy, who's 17-3 and a killer of his own. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's on a 6. Pico's on a 6-fight winning streak.
Yeah.
After the Barks loss. So, I think that he's on that path now that we all kind of saw him getting to, and I think a big win here, and you start to really get. I think at that point, Bellator has the green light to start to give him the top contenders again. The names.
I mean, he's been admittedly early in his career. He would. Kind of too big for his britches or whatever you want to say. I mean, he realizes that now. He did a really good. It's on ESPN's YouTube channel, actually. He did an interview with Akamoto, where he talked about his, his beginnings and where he's at now, the camp switching, and how 145 is kind of like where he's very comfortable at. He's looking at now. He's thinking about titles because his boy AJ McKee is looking to do things at 155, so they don't have to worry about any kind of like beef or anything, because they're they used to be in camp together, and then Pico went over to Jackson Wink, but they're still friends. And he was talking about how he's gonna start like making a stake for the title if he gets past Kennedy. I mean, with the heat that he has in his strikes, man. That's one thing even winning or losing, like even when he got knocked out, it was always like he could knock a guy out. But in that interview, what I thought was interesting is the fact that when he talked about, because if you look I'm watching a bunch of things at once, but I do have the Bellator's card up here, and I want to share it.
Oh, Tracy reverses the takedown, ends up on top for the first time now, looking to
Yeah,
try to secure the
that might have
back.
been a mistake because
Mistake. Kind of in a flying crucifix almost position. Now she gonna lose it. Trying to get the backpack though. It's the best position she's had in the fight so far.
yeah.
But yeah, it looks like I don't know if she's gonna be able to keep it.
So I just brought up the main event. If you look, it's Pitbull and Borix and so Adam Borix is one of those 3 losses that Pico had, and he mentioned it a couple of times when he spoke with ESPN, and he said like that's a fight. Not only if I get past Kennedy, I want this fight back. I want to avenge that loss, and then I'll start talking about title fights. And I thought I couldn't disagree with that plan, at all, because I think that's a really great game plan for someone that's a lifelong competitor like Aaron Pico.
What do you know? Do you know where they have? I'm trying to pull up the rankings. Curious where they have. I don't know exactly where they have Pico in the rankings right now.
Oh, I can bring it up right here because it's on the same site.
There you go.
So for featherweight, yeah, they're right underneath. Borix and Pico are right underneath.
Pico's already number 3. Like,
yeah.
Okay, and then Kennedy's number 7. So he's already. This is a big time matchup. I didn't realize they had Pico already up there, but I guess you just had Burnell just took a loss. Carvalho picked up a big win over Burnell. So yeah, I mean he's right in line. I didn't realize that he had already moved his way up so quick. AJ McKee's the interesting one. He's obviously in the co-main event against Spike Carlisle, lightweight fight. So I'm wondering if he's essentially abandoned. If he's just going to move to lightweight.
Yeah, I mean Carlisle. No, I mean McKee's ranked at featherweight, not lightweight. So I guess he's looking just to kind of make his way there. I mean, he was pretty adamant about when he won the title, the featherweight title, and then with everything that happened, he was kind of like he wanted to before he had the rematch. He was like already was talking about moving up to 155. So I kind of see his name just getting moved at some point. I mean, we know how good McKee is. I mean, he's definitely second generation MMA fighter. We'll definitely see his names in the rankings at some point at 145. I don't think the Spark Carlisle win gets him there, but whoever he fights after that probably will. I'm sure they'll match him against a ranked person if he gets past Carlisle on Saturday.
Yeah, I think though, even with the win over Carlisle, I think once he's kind of got a win at the division, I think that the voters will probably put him in the top 10 where he would be a rightful spot. Honestly, he's the killer from 145 coming up, so it wouldn't shock me. I don't know if he'd move into the top 5 necessarily or something like that, but I could see him definitely moving in, 8ish, where they got Quealy right now, who just took a tough loss to Benson.
And for Invicta, just for folks watching, they're in round 3 now, watching along with us. Tracy and Machado.
Ooh,
yeah. Machado is just teeing off on. I mean, you can see now definitely in round 3 that Tracy's just apprehensive about coming in striking range. If she can't get a takedown or a clinch, she's even dropping her hands when she just dropped her hands now.
I'm seeing a good amount of people saying she won the second round. So
yeah, we were looking at this card, so I wasn't.
I know she had some position. She got some position, but it felt like early on in the round, especially, she was getting beat up pretty good, much like she is essentially right now. I mean, there's not a ton of volume, but when she gets hit, she's getting hit hard. Oh. So we'll see how this goes. So much for bringing luck to the finish here, as we 340 left in the third round. Like I said, essentially a close fight, but it seems like Machado is pretty much controlled from the start. As we work our way to the main event, and Jillian DeCoursey attempting to become a world champion. Guessing Ed is on a beer break, as I don't blame him. It's 10:30 now on the East Coast. Luckily, only 7:30 for me here on the best coast here on the West. Another big overhead right from Machado. She's clearly winning the third round, and if that holds, then she definitely will pick up the decision win here. Although we did see some questionable decisions earlier on the night. I hear Ed creeping back. And he's back.
I had to get a refill.
That's what I said. I said, I'm guessing Edwin got himself another beer, and I didn't blame you considering it's 10:30 on your coast. Machado's continue, landing the big shot every 20 seconds or so, and it's still.
I got it. Yeah, I have it too. The first and definitely the first and third round for her.
Yeah, if it holds as it is right now, I was just saying she's going to win a decision. Second round could be a toss-up, but I have a feeling we're going to still see a 30-27, at least out of one of the judges, because it wasn't clearly Tracy's way at all in the second round. It's just she just got a couple good positions where, but never really did any damage and never threatened a real submission.
Yeah, Machado's got a lot of pressure. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. If you're moving backwards, the judges are scoring for the person making you move backwards. Oh, nice spinning back fist, though. Good try.
So, jumping back to what I talked about last week, it's, the minute we got off the podcast, we see Scott Coker insinuating that he'd love to get Nate Diaz. And then I saw today Eddie Alvarez mentioning that they both got their free releases last week, and that he was open to another run in the UFC or Bellator. So,
well, his thing. He was on the MMA Hour today, and I saw the clip where he was saying he knows he's at the end of his career, and he wants to kind of he wants to get his last fights on in the United States. So the thing about, as nice as one is to fight for, because they pay well and everything, we know, they were giving Ben Askren when he was over there and in his prime, pre Masvidal knee. Everyone thinks Ben Askren sucks because of that. They don't know how good he was especially when he was in Bellator and won, winning titles in both places. But he, they pay well, and as good as they are. I mean, one thing about Eddie Alvarez, if you've been following his career, especially if you folks, fight fans, especially mixed martial arts fans in this region, following Eddie, they call him the Underground King because he used to fight in the underground fights out in New York, and he had to come all the way out here to Jersey to fight in the beginning of his career. And he's one of those guys that was always kind of even though he was known as the grinder and they call him the Underground King, I always felt he was he was someone that was business savvy when it came to his future as a fighter, to the point that he used to do his own contracts until they started getting, pages long that he hired a manager. And so he's one of those guys that's not stupid when it comes to thinking about his fighting future and his, the money he makes or he can still make until before he has to hang up the gloves. And it looks like he's aware of having to hang up the gloves at his age. So I don't blame him for wanting to do that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if PFL seems to have this bottomless pit of money that they keep dipping into. They got Shane Burgos there. They got Marlon Moraes out of retirement over there. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to PFL. He mentioned Bellator in that interview too, because he talked about the only time he had a bad exit from a fight promotion was it was very public and everybody knew he was talking about that one. So, but that was under Bjorn Rebney, not Scott Coker. So, yeah, it would be I feel like it would be cool if he went back to Bellator. If the UFC could lure him back, not for nothing, if the UFC lured him back for one fight with Michael Chandler, people like us at least would be yeah, I want to see that again.
It would be the trilogy fight.
Yeah.
I mean, Unfortunately, it seems like the chances of getting a one-off fight like that just no longer exist.
I
But
don't know, man. I
you
mean,
never know when the money's involved. You never know.
I
Maybe if,
the I
especially
call
if you,
I'm almost I'm drinking enough that I'm gonna say it. So I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day. I'm on 3 beers in, so I'm gonna say it. I feel like referring to the UFC as Endeavor Fighting Championships now because Endeavor owns them, and whatever the fuck is happening this weekend with them banning media and fans from the event, it seems like some rich people shit. And that's not something the UFC and the Fertitas would do, but that's definitely something Ari Emanuel and Endeavor would do. So you don't know. They'll do whatever if it looks like they could rope in bags of cash. I think they'll fucking do it. I mean, look, we had a BMF title, and look at what they did with Chimaev and the Nate Diaz thing. I mean, they changed the card within the week of the event.
you'll have to go back and edit this when all of a sudden it's just a bunch of Make a
Mhm.
Wish kids in the arena. But
Oh yeah.
uh,
Well,
yeah,
I'll just apologize on next week's podcast.
oh, here comes the decision. See what we got here.
Machado looks like I mean, I think I'm
We go
confused.
to the judges. Yeah, it's 30-27, all three
Yeah.
judges. Not a big surprise. A lot of people thought maybe second round was close, but like I said, some position but no damage. Pretty easy choice, right winner, or won the fight for sure. So, but yeah, getting back to Eddie, I mean, I to me he's like the epitome of a prize fighter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel
Mm.
like he just kind of did everything right.
Philadelphia guy too. Yeah.
He built up his stock outside of the UFC, and I try to tell that to people. Like a lot of the big dudes who made money and made a name outside of the UFC, when they do show up to the UFC, they get paid. You
Mm-hmm.
know, now obviously not everybody can be Eddie Alvarez and Alistair Overeem and Michael Chandler and some of those guys. Those guys are the top, but you can go beat up a lot of guys, and make a name for yourself and get that big payday. It seems to me, rather than take that $10,000 UFC contract, go in there, lose a fight, two fights, and then your career's essentially crushed right off the bat. No matter what you do in the regional circuit after that, it's going to be hard to recover if the UFC cuts you. Usually, they're not cutting people and bringing them back. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a real popular thing throughout the history of their organization. So I love the way he did it. I love that he was always there to fight everybody. I love that he fought in Japan, he fought in Thailand, he fought in Costa Rica for Bodog, he fought in the U.S.
Yeah.
He
Forgot
fought
about the both dog fights. Yeah, that's he
you
was.
know
Yeah, he
e-
fought in Japan. Like he fought. Yeah.
everywhere. He
Yeah.
fought everywhere. He fought a who's who. He fought in every friggin' organization. Um, other than Pride, he fought in every organization that's really ever mattered, and he fought in a lot of the early ones. Like a lot of fans don't necessarily know MFC. There were some
Mhm.
big MFC Atlantic City events that took place
Yeah.
in the
You.
early 2000s. With huge names, cards
Yeah.
loaded. Yves Edwards, Rich Clementes,
Mm-hmm.
Travis Views.
East
I mean,
Edwards, who's on the commentary team tonight over at Invicta FC.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then so it's I'm looking at it now. Yeah, Costa Rica, Canada is another country.
Mm-hmm.
He was a hitman basically, and then he became the world champion, one of the first you know champions in Bellator. He won their inaugural tournament lightweight. The more we talk about like Pico and stuff, and I know that
Mm-hmm.
that's not necessarily I'm not a big fan of kind of handing the torch fights, because usually it's the dudes handing the torch that I'm a huge fan of, much
Yeah.
like Eddie Alvarez. But I feel like there is some potential there between McKee, um, even Pitbull, either both Pitbulls, um, with Alvarez and you throw in McKee, like I said, and uh, Tokov, the not Tokov, the guy, the resin. I'm sorry, uh, Timacu, or I don't even know how to say his name. Um, but there's some. It was on the rankings. You had it up there. Um, some big names at lightweight, which could be some fun fights for him, especially if we're only talking about him doing maybe three, four.
Tofik Musiev.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So I kind of mix and match in his name in classic style there, but uh, there's some fun fights, and I kind of lean that way because he is aging. Um, I love Eddie Alvarez, but there's probably not a lot of top, 10 UFC bouts that he's going to be favored in,
Hmm.
especially at lightweight right now. Not that he can't win. Any given day, he could be the world champion. But
Yeah.
um, I feel like his run in one wasn't great. So I think as he's commenting on stuff, I think he's smart enough to know that the clock is ticking, as you say. So
Yeah, he's always been really smart about that, and that's one of the things. Again, like I forget where I remember him hearing talking. I think it was with it was actually on Chael Sonnen's podcast when he came on, and he talked about his like the early part of his career. If you really want to like, and I know I've said this on the podcast, like literally probably when we started. I haven't brought it up in a while, but Jim Jenia wrote a book called Raw Combat, and it's about like the history of MMA in this Northeast region, New York, New Jersey, Philly, and like how with the sport not being legal in New York, like you find out about like the places where like Lyman Good, Shane Burgos, and all those guys come from. Um, what's his name? Jim from Tiger Schulman, Jimmy Rivera, all those guys. They're mentioned in the book, and Eddie Alvarez. He might even have like a whole chapter. He's mentioned a lot. Frankie Edgar's mentioned a lot in that book. Um, it's a great read. It's a quick read, but if you really want to understand why folks in New York get like the way that we get New York, New Jersey, PA, like is because of like there's a real deep history, and a lot of it was underground, which is why Eddie Alvarez is people call him the Underground King because he wanted to fight and he found ways to fight. So yeah, he's one of the guys I want to see him close out his career on a on a W. I mean, it was sad, like we mentioned Manhoff from last week. Like he was fighting the monster and Yoel Romero. The way it happened is what I saw happening. Because Romero's like some sort of
because it
fucking.
wasn't a good matchup.
It's not a good
It
management,
wasn't.
but Romero in his 40s is like he's like some fucking Resident Evil experiment, Umbrella Corporation. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my 40s and I'm not even close to the shape that of Euro. And I know he's a pro athlete or whatever, but like fuck that dude. Like I just don't that doesn't make sense. Nothing Yoel Romero doesn't make sense. Most people are you know not as active or as monstrous as he is. I mean, that guy's a freak in nature.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you want to make jokes about it because of what the eye test gives you, but he did find he's taken a million tests and never, yeah, he had that issue, I guess, with the tainted supplement that he was cleared of. So,
Yeah.
um, but other than that, like, yeah, it's you can't say anything. I was gonna say he looks like he should be headlining ADCC, the way the way he looks physically,
Yeah.
but bad matchup. I didn't like it,
You
but
ever see him in person? I know you see a lot of fights. You ever?
yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
fucking monster. Like if you see him close up, is the fact that makes 185 to me is. I remember when he was in the Garden and he was walking up and down the Hulu Theater. Like the Hulu Theater. If you're near the whatever's going on and you look back at the Hulu Theater, how it all comes down to the front, and he was coming down the stairs. I was like, because I was near where all the weigh-ins and stuff was happening. I turned around and I was like, that's Yoel Romero, and all you saw was shoulders and a hat coming down the stairs from far away, and I was like, this guy's a house, man.
Speaking of joking about steroid use and definitely not insinuating any kind of reality with this, does the UFC think we're stupid by not testing Conor McGregor
Yes.
for like 2 years? Does I mean, does you want to talk? I feel like I need more beers in me, and I'd go off crazy right now. But I can't get over it, and I'm not. I don't even. I wish they didn't test anybody. I've said it a million times. Like I just want to watch dudes who think they're the
Well,
baddest guys on the planet fighting each other.
and that,
But
yeah, yeah.
but I mean, you got to think we're stupid when guys who haven't fought in a decade are still getting tested on the regular, and Conor McGregor is the only UFC fighter on the entire roster to not be tested, like in literally like the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Um, I think, and while he's posting videos of him looking like a juice monkey, like it's just like this is a joke, right? Like, I mean, when he comes back, he talks about not being no doubt he can't cut weight. I mean, you got to be. I know he's coming off a leg injury. See, I mean, that's you know with Anderson Silva, he tested positive after he had his broken leg, and I think that common sense would tell you that if you want to come back after your leg snapping, most people probably need some kind of supplement to allow that healing process to
Whatever,
happen
man. But
and
like,
fight.
just to answer your question, does the UFC think we're stupid? Of course they do. Look at what they're cutting Aspen Ladd because she missed weight, and I mean I know she missed weight multiple times, but you literally rearranged the whole card 2 weeks ago before a guy that missed weight. Like, get the fuck out of
Well,
here.
there's no excuse for Aspen Ladd.
Yeah.
Until all of a sudden Chimaev misses fight, wait 3 more times, and then Dana White doesn't say anything about it. The thing with Aspen Ladd that gets me is like there's 145. I know she missed 145, I think too, right? Like there's a long history, but why is she
My
even
my 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 thing with
attempting to make
Aspen Ladd,
135? They have no
yeah,
145 fighters. Why not just let her fight at 145 if that's the weight she can attempt to
because
make?
they want to get rid of the division. They made it for Cyborg, and she's not there anymore, so they just want to get rid of it. The thing about I feel bad for Ladd because that rhymed, but I do feel bad for her because at least like you could see she in her face she felt bad about missing weight versus Chimaev who was just like, fuck, I kill everybody, fuck weight. I was just like,
Yeah.
like there's something weird about like the guy still gets rewarded for missing weight, and the
And
poor
then
girl
within like
that
2
that
weeks later,
tries,
I
yeah.
she missed weight 4 times, like out of
But
7
but it's
fights.
not because she wasn't fucking around and having cake and shit or whatever the fuck he was doing. You
I
know what I
don't know.
mean?
Again, there's a division higher than her that she could go to.
Hmm.
When she may have missed weight, they made a catch weight.
Yeah.
When Aspen Ladd misses weight, although she's almost passing that, there's no excuse for not making weight if that's what your job is to do. So I don't want to get there, but the fact that they have the weight class up there, again, does UFC think we're stupid? Obviously, they want to get rid of the 145-pound division. We haven't seen a title fight there in seems like forever now.
Stay
Um,
home, stupid. You don't have to cover our event this weekend. That's that's what they're pretty much doing.
I can't
But
wait to see exactly what it turns out to
like,
be.
just
'Cause
fucking tell us what it is, especially media. Like, just say what it is. Like, what's the fucking secret? You know?
yeah, I think it's disrespectful too because not all media just there's a lot of media members like you who don't get all your travel paid. You could have easily had a hotel room in Vegas booked,
Yeah.
a flight booked. You could already be in town to
Imagine
cover
if,
it.
right?
And all of a sudden, it's one thing when you're doing it with some of the bigger wigs who make a living doing it, and it's a weekend off for them, even though they might sit and bitch and moan. But there's a lot of people, the vast majority of them, that are day to day, fighting to just be there, and so that's I think that's kind of weak to give a 3-day notice, 4-day notice that you're not working this Saturday, even if you may have traveled across the world. I mean, we're not even just talking, in the country. You could have a, a journalist there from Dubai or something that is going,
Yeah,
okay,
imagine
well,
that poor guy.
so.
Guess I'll go
And there's no event next week, so it's
try
not
my
like.
luck at the tables. Yeah.
So the co-main event's going on. We're approaching the 1 minute point of the first round.
Susan Suotoma. I mean, this was the fight with Suotoma's the 2 weeks notice.
Souza
I actually thought Susan was
controlling a
gonna.
little bit.
I thought she was gonna go like run through her, but
She's got her nose busted up a little bit, so we'll see. A lot of pressure, but no finishes so far. So um, we shall see how this unfolds. Do you know the odds for the main event tonight? I know Jillian's the underdog, but do you have any idea what the
no,
actual odds are?
no, I didn't look them up. I don't pay attention to them anyway because I feel like the odds makers are just throwing shit. They're throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks when it comes to fights these days.
Oh, you mean?
May,
I mean, did we call that Greek dude or what? I mean, it. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
we 2 years ago we were saying it was a joke.
There's people tracking his L's now, like online, that they're like, "Yo, he's like 2-10 in his picks or some shit like that.
He's
Something ridiculous.
it's record breaking. He's like
Yeah.
3-17 or something, and and he had like 9 in a row he lost or something. And it's like
Yeah.
I don't even know how you can show your face on TV and how they can continue to bring you on when you've like basically set a record as the worst gambler. I mean, he makes Mush look like he's just hitting the Keno left and right. You know, like
Yeah.
I I just I
Yeah,
can't
but
even.
he still has a job for some reason. I guess them bright whites are drawing in fucking viewers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You want to follow a real guy that gives good tips for betting on MMA fights specifically? Luca Fury on Twitter. Follow that dude. That dude knows what the fuck he's talking about. And he doesn't even follow me back. I'm giving him a free plug or like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, but like
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
I've literally like he's given out just advice for free, and I followed it, and it's literally like one of the things he said is like, when you're betting fights, like stop, don't look at the money line. You just like Justin Gaethje. The last fight I bet was Justin Gaethje. Even though he lost that fight, I still won money because I bet on Justin Gaethje getting a knockdown in the first round, and he did. So it's like,
there's other ways to
yeah, there's
do it
other
than
ways to win. Yeah, and then that
you know.
if he wasn't giving out tips like that, I wouldn't have thought to do it. But like now, I pay attention to like all my other options, not just the money lines that we quote them on this podcast and stuff like that for like parlays or whatever. But I've been mentioning it lately since I read that. Like, if you're gonna pick somebody to win by submission or someone fight to go the distance, someone to get a knockdown that is like kicks the legs off of people.
Yeah, I mean, MMA is such an unpredictable sport that
Yeah.
it's not an easy one to bet on, anyways. Generally, if you're a fan of the sport and you follow it, you can get an idea of who the favorite should be without even seeing the odds. I just think it's funny for somebody to brag about being like a gambling guru and just go on TV and just look like an absolute fool. I think that that's funny. It's like one thing if we do our picks, neither of us are sitting
It's
here
hilarious.
trying to sell sell our picks online or something. It's just funny to me, and it's funny that they keep you talk about
I like making them and publicizing them and recording them for my own. Sure Dog. We talked about it when we had Jay Petrie on. We used to do it where we tracked our picks and it was fun for us, but apparently, the powers that be that run Sure Dog didn't like see it as a viable means of bringing in traffic to the website, so they stopped doing it. But I mean, I just like tracking it. I will say my own number. I haven't logged into Tapology in forever because I was using that to track after that. But and I apologize to all my Tapology folks. What's the fucking thing? MMA Twitter thing? I forgot what it was called. But Team MMA for life. Team MMA for life people we had the Tapology team, but I haven't been logging in. But I used to be better at picking fights until the ESPN Plus era started. And then when that's for some reason that has hurt, like I guess because I'm not watching as much and I'm not following.
because it's harder to bet on
Yeah.
King of the Cage fights.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just the
King
bottom
of the
line.
cage fights, yeah.
Like that's basically what you're betting on when you're betting on the undercards of a lot of the UFCs now. I mean, you don't have. It's not like it's hard to have knowledge of the early when UFC first became legal in Vegas, gambling was really easy on it because nobody knew anything about it. So if
Yeah.
you just had a general knowledge of the sport, you generally know, okay, this guy's a wrestler, this guy's a
So
striker.
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
bet on the wrestler and I'm going to win 80% of my bets.
yeah.
That kind of thing, Whereas now everybody gets into the camps, everybody knows who they're training with, and it's a lot harder now
Mm-hmm.
to
Do you
hold
remember
off.
Counter Move?
Uh-huh.
Counter Move MMA was like the first fantasy MMA before DraftKings bought them and used they pretty much used the Counter Move invented the model that DraftKings and everybody else uses now. But when Counter Move was the only way for folks in my region to kind of make some kind of money picking fights, Um, I was making money on that because, again, like you said, not folks didn't really know. I mean, I
It
was
was just
remember
barely a thing.
I was making like 70, $80 on a card
Yeah.
using counter move, and then when it became blows when as the sport blew up and became what it is, everything like when DraftKings took over, it became shit. That's why it's better to just bet fight straight out and fuck fantasy MMA bullshit. You know,
I'm just surprised that the UFC embraces the whole gambling angle as much as they do. I mean, obviously their home base is in
I was
Vegas,
gonna
but
say, yeah,
but generally when you bring gambling into sports, it doesn't do good for the sport. Usually something shady happens, like a fighter doesn't get drug tested for 2 years. That kind of stuff starts suddenly happening where I don't know. I think it's weird. I think that when you bring in when your experts like 0 for 19 on his picks. I mean, how many going if you're a professional gambler who goes on TV and tells people the picks to make, and you go like 0 for 17, 0 for 18, whatever the heck he was on a run there. What is how many weight losses and misses is that equal? Like you're a
yeah.
professional and you miss weight 3 times, you lose your job in the UFC.
So
You're a
his
professional and you predict the fights wrong 17 times in a row. You know,
I mean, since we're talking about him as we are in the end of the third round of right, this is the third round for Souza and
second round going to the third round.
second going into the third round. So while we're in between rounds, I did homework on that guy. Like he's like called the Greek gambler because he like played gambles on fucking poker or blackjack or some shit. Like you don't even bet on sports. Why the fuck did you like he must know somebody. I get it's all we all know. It's all good old. But if Eric McGracken's 279 rabbit hole taught us anything, it's that Nevada's just a big giant good old boys network where folks get their elbows rubbed together or whatever the fuck it is, some casino shit with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro.
Yeah, he's
You know,
obviously getting fed information from
yeah,
the fights. You think this dude wasn't following MMA
no,
before 2 years ago?
no,
He don't
not at
have any.
all.
He's not watching film. And if he is like
Yeah.
if he is, he needs to quit because he's embarrassing himself. And I don't know. I just think it's funny that that's
I think now if anything, if someone's in a boardroom saying, "Hey, at least people are tuning in and watch him be wrong," you know what I mean? Like the way people like Stephen A. Smith gets people riled up, and that's why ESPN keeps him around.
I
You know
I
what I
just think
mean?
it'd be funnier if he was like, "Yeah, man, I suck. I suck at this, but I'm gonna do my best." Like I mean, it's kind of like at some point just eat a little bit of crow instead of going on there and making
Mhm.
another pick that turns out to be the worst pick of the whole night. I mean, it's like he just outdoes himself. Oh, I'm gonna take this one. This fight ain't
Yeah,
going out of the first
yeah.
round, and then sure enough, it's a
I don't
decision.
know. Bo Nichols a little wet behind the ears.
Yeah, I like the value at plus 7,000. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna put a unit on that, and then and
Yeah.
I'll take I'll take nickels, but it's gonna be 3 rounds or 2.5.
Yeah.
It's like,
Because
good
he's
lord,
not
dude.
he's not really experienced yet. Like, dude, shut
Never
the
mind the
fuck
guy he's
up.
fighting. He's got 3 fights, and you know. But this fight's going on. Souza's picking apart Suatama, and
I
we're
can't
working our way
believe.
to this main event. We're working there. We're
I
gonna get
can't
there.
believe. I can't believe this fight's going all 3 rounds because I mean, I really would have thought Souza was gonna run through Suatama, but like it's not happening. Like she's doing some fancy shit. She did like in at the end of round one, she was doing like some capoeira moves or some shit, but it's definitely not like. I mean, and Suatama was wearing the damage. You could see it on her face, but but like I don't know. Maybe there's something in the water in Oklahoma. And 3 minutes left in in the last round, and then we got the main event.
So what do we got here on the one card this Friday night that you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, especially the grappling homies like because this is gonna be. I'm curious. I'm more curious to see. First of all, I really like the kid. Um, but the one on Prime Video too, which is on Friday night. Again, if you don't have Prime, it's part of your Amazon Prime Like if you pay for Amazon Prime, you have Prime Video, you can watch this the way you watch your football and your baseball and whatever the hell else they show on there. It's not the main event, but it is for the Flyweight Submission World Grappling Championship. So for folks that don't know anything about one championship, they don't just do MMA. I wrote a whole kind of like idiot's guide to one championship to let you know how they operate with their weigh-ins and their weight divisions, and they do MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and submission only grappling. And if you look, you see, I got the card up here, right here, Mikey Musumeci versus Kleber Souza for the Flyweight World Grappling Championship. I'm more curious just to see how fans that are new to one championship watching it on Prime Video look at competitive grappling. I mean, this kid is a wizard. He's young. He's super respectful. He's not a dickhead at all. And then obviously these striking matches. We were talking about it before with this one right here. This guy, Timofe Natsuyukin or whatever the fuck it. I'm fucking it up.
Yukin.
Yeah. That dude's a fuck. Like, if you watch, I watched his last fight, where it was I think it was 159. I forget what event you can go on the One Championship YouTube channel and just watch these fights. And the cool thing that they do is, like, when these are over, each individual fight will be on the YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. If you don't have Prime, like the week after. So they're really good about getting their content out there, which is one of the reasons why Chatri, who's like the Dana White of One Championship, likes to tout, all their social numbers, is because they do push a lot of content. They have like a whole esports thing happening, but this is going to be mostly striking. I mean, there's MMA on the card, but they're adding kickboxing to it and some Muay Thai fights. So I'm just curious to see how fight fans like a smorgasbord combat sports event, which you and I would like, but I just want to know how the new fight fans like something different than the cut and paste of like what the UFC does almost every weekend.
We'll find out with one, because when other organizations do it, usually the media decides to kind of bash them about it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't seem to do that with one. When Bellator tried to bring in kickboxing, it was like the end of the world for anybody that was kind of just all about the UFC, So one seems to get
Yeah.
away with it. I don't think the general fight fan is going to tune into the grappling and be overly enthusiastic about it.
No.
I think a lot of them will see
Fuck
that.
these dudes hugging and shit. I
I
like
just
seeing
think,
the
well,
hugging.
I mean, I think if it's an exciting
Grab
grappling
ass
match,
MMA.
I think the initial, and it would probably be even mine if I didn't know like that these guys are just kind of in their own sport. But like if I had just tuned into the card and I saw a grappling match and I saw a guy dominate, my first response would be like, well, why isn't this guy fighting MMA? If I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really know like what was going on. So I think we might see a lot of that. Like if you see some kind of crazy submission, or
Mm-hmm.
you see some kind of crazy back and forth, rolls and stuff. So um, transitions and all that. So I think that might be the initial reaction, but as long as one keeps going, they just need to keep these cards on a steady pace and not have big gaps in between them. I mean, what are we looking at every month? So far we had the end of August. Now we have the end of September. I think there's an early December card. I don't know, and I think there's one in October too. I'm not sure about
What, you talking
November.
about the Prime Video events?
The Prime Video events, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Renee the Ritter's on the October card. I think it's October 22nd.
okay, and then I think there's like a December 3rd card, so maybe there's not a November show, or maybe there's one in the middle there. But um, I think that's key. I think you need to keep, especially if you kind of want to just get that casual Amazon viewer that's maybe not the gigantic fight fan, but it just gives them something once a month to look forward to that's just different on your streaming service, when there's a millions and millions of people who strictly have Amazon Prime for
Mm-hmm.
their TV. They don't get
Yeah.
they're not tuned into Access TV, or they're not tuned into Fox Sports, or ESPN, or wherever there might be a fight on. So that's not happening. So one has a chance to build that base that's not really necessarily fight fans, but people that just that's one of the 35 choices they have that night, and it jumps out of them as a live event. So um, it'll be interesting. But I think as long as they keep that, this card right here is pretty much a one card. Between Angela Lee, Fairtex, you got some of the top women fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Angela Lee going up in weight to attempt to become a double champion and beat the flyweight champion. Um, and then you got Super Bomb, the kickboxer, who and if you watch any of their Muay Thai stuff, you don't even have to know who these guys are, because I'm not gonna, I know a handful of the bigger name guys, the guys who kind of came up through Lion Fight. Some of the stuff that
Mhm.
where I was there was a not that long ago, there was actually a lot of kickboxing going on. There still is now, but it's just harder to see. You used to have
Yeah.
Glory on TV, you used to have Lion Fight on TV.
Yeah.
There used to be ways to see Muay Thai and all this stuff. One's taken it, put the small gloves on these dudes, and just turned it into
Which
like a
something, yeah. I don't know what it is about that. Just the fact that they're using the 4 ounce MMA gloves for Muay Thai, but it just makes it so much more fun.
Well, you just got some of the most deadly strikers on the planet that
Hmm.
are weapons now are down to a 4 ounce glove as opposed to a 10, 12, 14, 16 ounce glove on your hand. And
I remember there's a guy I trained with that he's. I mean, he does jiu-jitsu too, but he's also pretty well versed in striking and Muay Thai and stuff like that. And he watches the sport, follows the sport. And this was like a year ago when before even one was talking about being on Prime, but he started watching them on YouTube because I mentioned to him that it was Muay Thai with those gloves, and he was like, "Really, with Muay Thai gloves?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was around the time that when Nikki Holskin fought John Wayne Parr, to just around that time over there. And if you haven't seen that fight, I mean, you're talking about two high level strikers, one from one generation of the other from the newer generation. Watching them go at it was just Holskin wound up winning that fight, but it was definitely, I watched it a few times just because watching guys that cerebral at striking, and people talk about Israel Adesanya, that's the world he comes from. That's why he's so good, you know, because he's there's something about that level of striking that makes it's almost like being like some weird fighting mathematician, It's just crazy. I mean, anything at any high level, I guess, is like that. But something about I've always just been, my mouth, my jaw hangs open when it happens in combat sports, whether it be boxing, MMA, or you see high level striking. You can't help but be impressed. Um, all right, here we go. Main event time. They put her name up on screen as Jillian DeCoursey. They're showing the highlight from for folks that don't know about Jillian DeCoursey. She's got about 800 fight names. Um,
I just got that. Okay.
yeah,
uh,
most Lionheart Jillian DeCoursey is like how most folks know her. But like she if you follow her on Twitter, she's almost every day she's like, "That's my new fight name. That's what it'll be. Whatever. Krispy Kreme. That's my new fight name." Like she'll just grab any random tweet and make that her new fight name. And she did tell me actually the last few most recent interviews are on the YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, um, check them out because she kind of talks about the nicknames and stuff. They keep showing her last knockout over Lindsey Van Zandt. Oh my god. She was definitely a different animal. It's her training hasn't just been physical and technique wise. There's a lot of mental stuff going on. New York Post wrote a great article about her that they published yesterday or today about how she's actually works in the mental health industry on top of training to fight at this level. So obviously, I'm really cheering for her to win. DelBoni's no slouch. I'm not trying to take anything away from her either. She is the current champion, but this is something DeCoursey's been working towards for a while, and she's definitely more than ready than I've ever seen her, and she's walking into the cage now as a challenger. Champion walks next. One thing about folks like I don't know if they're saying it on the commentary now or not, but um this is not her first time fighting for a belt. She fought short notice in CFFC for a 115-pound title against Elise Reed, who's in the UFC now. And she went the distance. She lost, went the distance, but it just goes to show you the cloth she's cut from, you know?
I'll be interested to see what kind of strategy she takes into this fight as a jiu-jitsu Muay Thai fighter. Obviously, she had the big knockout in her last fight, but
Mm-hmm.
her bread and butter has always kind of been her ability to grapple. So it will be interesting to see. Her opponent takes a ton of grappling
Hmm.
matches.
Yeah.
Um, when you look at her record, she doesn't actually have a whole lot of MMA wins recently, um, but she did beat the champion in her last fight. So
You know what's it makes me wonder. You mean talk about just looking at their records? I always wonder, like when fighters kind of like get ready for fights. Like you look at a guy like Bo Nickel, especially this last fight that he had on Tuesday. I always wonder if you can credit their success to the fact that they're so well known and renowned in their specific discipline. Like he comes from wrestling, that it becomes almost like a weird distraction to the opponent. I mean, the opposite is true, obviously. With we just talked about a little while ago with Aaron Pico's first fight. He got guillotined in his first fight after they hyped him up because of his wrestling, but it's because of his opponent was expecting it. But on the other opposite side of that, I always wonder, like I always like because Nickel kept on like reaching for his most recent opponent. Like you could see he was reaching for the leg before he shot that punch in that dropped him, and then he got the finish. So I'm just wondering, and if you watch his fight at Icon MMA before he got into the Contender Series, like it looked like the guy was so worried about a takedown. That's why the knockout happened. You know what I mean? Like it's almost a distraction if they come with a reputation like that. So I'm wondering if the fact that Jillian's striking has improved is kind of why, because everyone thought she was gonna kind of like decision fan, myself included, when then she got that knockout. So who knows how DelBoni's you know I've been focusing so much on Jillian, I haven't really seen anything on DelBoni and interviews or anything about how she's looking at this fight tonight.
we're getting close.
Yeah.
DelBoni's just going through the final checks from the doctor, saying what's up to her team, and we'll be getting this on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it. See how this unfolds. I didn't see any familiar refs, so that might be good for your.
Yeah, that guy's a Kansas guy. So the one I'm thinking of, I don't know why. I'm gonna wind up texting you like over the weekend and like, oh, it was this guy. But like, I'll have to go back and watch some old like Invicta fights to remember. But
Not Rob Hines.
no, no, no. Jesus, it's like on the tip of my tongue. His fucking face is in my head. He's horrible. Mike England. I think it's Mike England. I think it's
Okay.
Mike England. Let me Google his face, make sure I don't want to be throwing anyone under the bus that doesn't deserve it. I think he spells it England.
Yes, Mike England.
See his face. Images. Oh yeah, it's coming. It's him. It's coming up. I'm
I
already
see him.
seeing articles for worst MMA referee. Yeah, it's definitely Mike England. I there's so many. It's always usually it was like always Invicta or maybe even some LFA cards, and I'm just like he's one of those referees that I'm just like. There's a lot of bad refs out there. I was recently at the event that we had Peacock that was on the podcast. That remember my buddy competed at. There was
Huh?
two really bad referees at that Men of War event, and thankfully when Nate's match came on, we were all audible enough, and so was the other guys for the woman that was refereeing his match to realize that a submission was happening because earlier in the night there was a submission that happened and the dude was put out, was a choke put out completely, and I have no idea where her attention was, but like it took other people saying he's out for her to stop the match.
Tail of the tape. Jillian comes in 38 to 29 years old. DelBoni. Jillian 1 inch in height at 5'2" over 5'1", 1 inch in reach at 63 inches over 62. So, I mean, other than the age difference, pretty much even across the board. Height, weight, and reach. See what the heck happens here. Jillian DeCoursey, that's funny.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, main event. 5 rounds. You think this goes 5 rounds?
I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. Everything else has gone to decision.
You remember last time I was like in the middle of talking about a record and stuff, and she just dropped Van Zandt. So I'm actually trying to pay attention to this this time. Make sure, folks that watch this, drop comments in if you watch this or you watched along. Let us know if you liked it. We'll do more of these for other events. I'm gonna do that watch party thing from my phone that for the one on Friday. If anybody has Amazon Prime and wants to check it out,
it's 8 p.m. Eastern start time for the card as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closed caption is like rough.
That's why I'm not like, I don't want to say one of the words that came up before during the Machado. I was just like, I don't think that's something tells me that's not what was said. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's YouTube's AI doing it, so they haven't flagged us yet for anything stupid, but we're also a small channel. But and look at, they say the cleanest cut guy in this business. They suspended his channel for like a week, James Lynch, and he had to do all kinds of appeals and stuff to get it back. So
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it happened like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh, yes, I do remember that. Then now, I thought you meant recently. Jillian looks tall, like more than an inch taller. She looks like she's like 3 or 4 inches.
Her demeanor literally just changed like in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, she got a scowl real quick.
Yeah, she was like all smiles, and now she's like in kill mode. Predator Mindset. That's the book her boyfriend like had her read to kind of like prepare for.
And we're off. Touch of the gloves.
Some apprehension on both ends here. Leg kick that misses from DelBoni. She probably threw that way to see if she went for a takedown. I don't know if that landed or if that was checked. That's 2 inside leg kicks that DelBoni went for.
Not a lot of action in the first minute here. A little bit of feeling out.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a title, so there's a lot
of time to work.
Yeah.
Both fighters jabbing.
Jillian's pretty quick. Nice in and out.
Key is, if there's going to be some of these rounds where it's just kind of feeling out, is to make sure you're the more active. Steal this round.
I'm wondering if DelBoni's looking to target like her liver. She looks like she's dropping her hands to draw her in to kick with that lead leg to her midsection.
Ooh.
I think that right hand landed.
Yeah, I think so too. Little left hook, check left hook there too. Both fighters still standing in the middle of the ring now, right in front of each other.
Mm-hmm. Nice
little 1-2 combo there.
Straight inside leg kick landed for Jillian.
Yep.
On the exit. Oof.
Jillian walks into a right hand halfway through the first round. gonna be interesting to see how this goes. I feel like that at some point we're gonna get some kind of grappling exchange. Right now, both fighters are throwing some stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
Some mean intentions.
Mm-hmm. They're both like sharp. Like all the shots they're throwing are quick and
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just
right
nice overhand right.
Yeah.
Jillian. Her best punch of the round.
Couple more of those and we got ourselves a new champ.
Yeah, she didn't miss that by much.
Yeah.
DelBoni comes in, presses up against the cage.
Yeah. That was probably because of that right hand. She's like, let's stop this.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't miss that by much. Still clenched up against the cage. Jillian working a couple of knees. And DelBoni responds with the knee of her own.
She's going for a takedown.
She's grabbing for that single leg. Now we're going for a double leg.
Nice. She's hoisting. There you go. Nice.
Oh,
nice
Jillian reverses it to the mount. She's in the mount, folks. Dropping a bomb, taking the back.
Like 100%.
This is her chance.
She did like the 100% off of the takedown. It's really nice.
Looking for a rear naked choke, and oh boy. We might have a shock of the world and a new champion right now.
Yo, it'll be the only finish on the card. Too.
Oh,
she under the chin.
It's right there.
Don't let go. Don't let go.
I can't tell where her other arm is, but her right arm definitely. It's over. She's got her.
Sleep.
Oh, she's gonna go out. It's over. She's gonna tap. It's over. Oh, and new champion.
Yes,
unbelievable. She did it.
She's got it.
She did it with a first round finish.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh my! I gotta put the sound on this. It won't come through the speaker, but I gotta hear it. The crowd is going wild. Stunning fashion. Announcers can't believe it. She made her pro debut in Invicta and has worked her way to a world champion with a first round finish. Wow.
I love it. Wow. Two first round finishes. And now she's champ.
Well, she stuffed the takedown and then was able to like reverse the double A takedown attempt and just instantly rolled into mount. From that point over, DelBoni gave up her back, and within 5-8 seconds, she was sinking in a choke that took her 20 seconds or so to work, but it was pretty clear that she was in a great position from the minute she went down to the ground. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations, Jillian DeCoursey. That's all I can say is congratulations. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. She's got a gigantic smile on her face.
Predator Mindset. It's the book that her boyfriend recommended, that she recommended when I talked to her.
I almost say you should risk us getting kicked off YouTube right now and just play her getting the belt wrapped around her and let them call us out on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as I don't play the sound, I think I'm all right. But I mean, I'm gonna get the photos and stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'm probably pushing it, but it is. The corner's elated.
Yeah,
she looks
that's
like
her boyfriend. Yeah,
tears getting close.
I got.
Mike England had been the referee, she would have been able to choke her out twice. That's the only only disadvantage. Here we go. I'm gonna put the sound on for myself here.
Yeah, tell me what she says. I don't want it to go into the stream, but because I know the closed caption is probably not accurate. You can tell it's like still sinking in for her.
4 minutes and 49 seconds of round one, so there was only 10 seconds left in the round. I didn't see that on the clock.
She's gonna explode when they make the official announcement. They wrap the belt around her waist. She's gonna freaking fly. She's gonna shoot her. Yeah, that's what's up. Jillian DeCoursey. And they put
Unbelievable.
Jillian on the screen again. Winner by submission.
They said her
Woo!
name too. Jillian Lionheart DeCoursey.
If they said all her names, they'd be there all night.
Jillian Lionheart Dickinson is what just came across the.
Is that what they put on the screen?
That's
Come on.
what's on.
That's your champion. You're gonna fuck up her
No,
name?
no. That's what the
No, that's what I'm
closed caption
saying.
was.
Oh, on closed caption. All right.
Wow,
that
was worth the wait of a long card.
Let's see what she says.
She's getting ready to get interviewed. I'll try to give you the best I can.
I'm playing it now. I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, I'm just gonna try to talk and see if fucking fucks YouTube up and that. Yeah. Atta girl.
She's just saying that she heard the coaches telling her that the clock was running out, counting down the clock as she locked in the rear naked choke. Choke she's been working on well lately. Felt good when she locked it in and she knew it was over. Heading to Vegas to go celebrate.
Go ahead, girl.
I think it's time for that Atlantic City Invicta title defense.
Seriously, like not for nothing. Now you got a champ. Like she literally will pack the house. That's a dope looking belt too.
Wow, hopefully she bet the house on herself because I do think she was like a 3 or 4 to 1 underdog. Could have been a nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, wow, wow. They're going to show the replay.
Yeah, she does 100. I saw her when she cinched up the forearm off of the because DelBoni goes after her right leg. Watch when she switches to her right leg, Jillian reaches over over her back. See her left hand, the glove pop through, and so that's like 100% in wrestling. She just pulled her over and went on top.
She said butterfly sweep there. See, I think the thing is when she gets her down, she throws a laser, ground and pound strike, much like the straight right she throws, and I think that's just big when you make that fighter turn and give her back real quick. When the minute hits the ground, you come up with a laser. A lot of people kind of pitter patter the strikes. She was going to go Vitor Belfort on her if she didn't give up her back.
I wonder what she's saying here. What is she saying?
She's asking for a rematch already.
Wow, you got finished first round. What's the questions? I mean,
I don't even know why they gave her the mic. This is disrespectful to Jillian, honestly. Let her have her moment, girl. You just lost your title after winning one MMA fight in the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Jillian's gonna let her know what's up right now.
Yeah. Jillian's saying how much she respects her. Depends what Shannon wants to do. I'd say show up in Atlantic City. Let's do it right, or let's do it in the in the Hulu theater there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. We talked about it before she even beat.
Yeah, that was a little. I agree with you. That was a little stupid to let DelBoni
no disrespect to DelBoni, but she hasn't.
I mean, they always interview both parties in the main event, so that makes sense. But like one of the cardinal rules in ring interviews is you don't surrender the microphone. So
yeah, it was just kind of odd. I think that you give her moment. You don't need to be challenged or her rematch. Mm-hmm. It just comes off kind of weird, like you just got choked out in one round. So, but holy shit,
fantastic.
I mean,
fantastic. I love it.
This is great. I shown replay again. I mean, it's just amazing that she was able to work her way up, and the way she did it with two finishes, just two violent finishes. It was a violent choke, even. I mean, it's. I mean,
I'm gonna do a write up for that submission. I do these write up submission. I'm waiting for to see if Invicta puts up the highlight. There, it's already up. I'm gonna share it on Twitter so you
I
can
mean, you
see.
can't have you talk about making a name for yourself, to the public. That's 2 fights in a row where you just went out there and had one of the knockout, one of the most violent female knockouts of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you follow it up with a first round submission in a fight where you're, you know, right or wrong, you're a 4-1 underdog. I mean, that's just
Kevin
that's roll.
Nicholson, PT. Thank you for watching, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. And Kevin, make sure if you don't follow Jillian, definitely follow her as her quest, even at 38, just seems to be beginning. Um,
And give
I,
Kevin a follow too, because he does some good stuff on Twitter
absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
talking about injury recovery and stuff. The PTs for physical therapy. So,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah, man, this is some shit. This is a fantastic. Like, I don't know if I'm going to sleep after this. Like, I'm literally like, and I don't want to bother her. You want to know what's funny? I mean, she and I are friendly or whatever, but well, you know this, but folks that know me know that my phone, where I spend my daylight hours at, my cell phone doesn't work. So Twitter is like the best way to get in touch with me, and that's how she and I kind of communicate. Shocker, because she's on Twitter often too. So, but I'm literally like, I, I I feel like one of my own daughters. Well, just want a title out there.
I mean,
So
wow. I, that's
especially in the card that we were like oh, they're all decisions. I didn't want to like jinx it, like you said. In my mind, I'm like, if a finish is coming, it's gonna come in this fight.
it worked out great. It gave us time to talk about what we wanted to, and then when the show started, it only lasted a round, and it ended the way that we were hoping. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just now we get to talk about what's next for Jillian DeCoursey as a world champion in the top female organization on the planet. I mean,
So,
you got UFC now. I mean, the doors are wide open now
mm-hmm.
for potential at her really being able to continue this amazing
Yeah. So
run and dream that she's on right now.
all the conversations I've had with her, most of them are pretty much on this YouTube channel for folks that want to see. Um, she, I mean, she's pretty adamant that she likes fighting at the weight she just fought at, that she's a champion at. She's done the 115 thing. She's told me a few times she didn't like it. I think, if I don't know what the deal with one championship is, as far as finally doing a show with boots on the ground here in the U.S. Because usually, you and I both know this, that if someone wins a title, there was a time when a woman won a title in Invicta, they got signed to UFC, Bellator. Someone picked them up. Since Invicta has been on this Access TV kind of like, we don't see it as often, but it's still kind of like, if you want to find the best female talent in mixed martial arts, it's at Invicta FC. So when you hold a title there, like Jillian now does, she's literally the cream of the crop in for atom weights. There's, as far as I know, there's only atom weights, one championship, Invicta, and she's been pretty adamant too about like, she Invicta's her home and she's gonna do her thing there, for a while. Even when she's done fighting, she still wants to be involved. She said that to me. So I wouldn't mind if she stood there and kind of defended the title a couple times, and didn't, and they brought her on to do other things. She's great social media. She's the unofficial CFFC social media like person, because she fought there too. So they better give her some shine in their next event. I know that. I think that's they're there next weekend, Parks Casino, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man. It's CM Punk will be giving her some dab on when he does CFFC commentary, because yeah, I'm literally like, that was like giving me a shot of espresso.
No, it's great. It's a great way to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
90-minute effort we put in tonight to get to that point, and
Same as last one, but yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just I love doing these. We need to, now we got a champion that's a friend of the show and someone we can obviously do this with all the time and get to look forward to even number one contender fights now to go for her title. So, um,
Yeah,
congratulations. I mean,
she's
it's
gotta
just
she's gotta sit in it, enjoy it. She's going to Vegas, like go have fun, get a little fat, have some chocolate or whatever, and then come. It's we're in the last quarter of this year. Look, whoever wants a shot at that belt, come get it in January or whatever the hell, when the warm weather comes. Maybe hopefully in Atlantic City. Maybe you could come down and we can make a whole thing out of it if Invicta would finally come. How are you going to put it in a Halle Berry movie, Invicta in Atlantic City, and you never been there? You
I'll
gotta.
say it right now. If they put her in a title fight in Atlantic City, I'll make my first trip to New Jersey to go visit you and go check out her title fight.
Yeah,
I'll put that
hundred
video right
percent.
now if that goes
I'll
down.
book the
So
rooms. We'll stay down there, and we'll stay down there. They'll do a whole fight. We'll do a whole fight week thing for it.
100% in on that one. So again, congratulations, Jillian DeCoursey. You did it. You're a world champion.
Woo!
Enjoy it. Couple of your biggest fans here. So we'll be rocking and rolling the rest of the night as well, as you surely celebrate the night away. Till then, fans can check us out at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat on Instagram. Check me out at MMA Hawk on MMA Hawk 21 on Twitter and Instagram. Check out Ed at Carbizol on Twitter, Carbeerzol on Instagram, and Old Head Carb on Twitch. And as always, you can check out our show at allaccessmma.com. Check out allaccessmma.com for our video podcast, MMA news, and MMA stories. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great night. Congratulations, champ. We look forward to talking to you in the near future. Till then, pop some champagne and enjoy the bubbly. Have a
Yeah,
good night, everyone.
the bubbly.